stories, tales if you'll call them, and we hope you will do it.
Okay, here we are, a night of stories about Duane. So I think due to the fact of the type of person Duane was, I think we should have a word of prayer before we started. So, Billy, would you offer a word of prayer?
Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight, Lord, for the privilege, Lord, to assemble together. God, to talk about a brother in the Lord. God, just to share and rejoice in the fact that he was our friend. And, Lord, most of all, that he knew you as his Savior. We pray, Lord, tonight that you just bless this fellowship and each one, God, that speaks. That, God, that we not only, you remind us of the things of Duane, but, God, you remind us how good that you are to us. And we thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, Mike, you said you wanted to kick this celebration off.
I spent a lot of time with Duane in my childhood. He used to come down summers and stay at our house. And once I got my license, I came to Aroostook, and Duane wanted me to go into hunting camp with him and Graham. Well, of course, he always called me a city slicker, and I was really a city slicker then.
You still are.
Not quite so much as a city slicker as I used to be. So we all got our stuff together. We all walked into camp. And the first thing Grant wanted us to do was cut firewood and split it and get it ready for the rest of the hunting season. That was our job. Well, I'd never had an axe in my hand in my life. I didn't know one wood from another. So Duane was going to teach me how to split wood. So he put a piece up on the split block. He took the axe, boom, split right. Did that 3 or 4 times. He says, "You get that?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, here, put this piece up there." And I hacked, and I hacked, and I hacked, and I hacked, and I hacked. And I finally got a little splinter split off from that. He says, "Here, let me show you how to do that." And he'd pick up a piece of wood, split, split, split. No problem at all. He says, "Here, now try this one." And I hacked, and I hacked, and I hacked, and I hacked. I go, "What am I doing wrong?" And he just burst out laughing. Of course, he gave me the naughtiest piece of wood that he could find, that you couldn't even cut it with a chainsaw down through, let alone try to put an axe through it. And he got the biggest kick out of that. So, that was my first lesson in splitting wood. I never forgot that one. As you can see, this is 30 years later. So, he says, "Now get a piece of dry wood and we'll start splitting that." So I'm looking at the piles of wood. He's with a question mark on my face, and I'm looking around, and he says, "You don't know what dry wood is, do you?" And I says, "No." "Oh, right, you." I have to admit it. He says, "It's the cedar pile over there." And I never forgot what cedar and hardwood were after that. So that's my first story.
Next. Okay, Moose. I think you're ready.
I don't know where to begin with Duane, really. I met Duane. They hired Duane. I was working in the phone company 2 or 3 years when we had a lot of work and they had to hire some temporary help. So Al got him a job, temporary. And the first day I met him, there was probably 10 guys in the office. He comes in, had on an old sweatshirt. He goes around and he shakes everybody's hand. And he gets to me, and him and I are trying not to let each other get the advantage shaking hands. So he says, Well, he says, I finally met somebody that's got a good handshake. There's a bunch of guys there from Boston, and they kind of took offense to that. Of course, Duane just give us ha-ha. And I just want to give you a day in the life of Duane at work. Duane was probably the most accident-prone person we ever had working. Duane and I used to go to the Elm Tree every morning and have breakfast early. He liked to get up early, and I used to. Duane and I worked together for 7, 8 years. And I spent more time with Duane than I did my wife when we was first married, because we was on the road a lot and we spent a lot of time in hotels and stuff. But a typical day for Duane is we'd go to Elm Tree and he knew everybody. I mean, everybody spoke to him, and Duane was one of those guys that you couldn't help but speak to, because he'd speak to you whether he knew you or not. But we get to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we was on a job where we was running power cable, and it was pretty good sized cable, and we was connecting it. And Duane always used to take the cable and he'd lay it in his hand and he'd run his knife this way. Instead of putting the cable this way and running it this way. So he was always cutting himself. And as soon as he cut himself, of course, he'd take his hand and he'd get blood all over the floor. And my boss would walk around and he'd say, "Where's Hersey?" And I'd say, "He's downstairs, cut himself." So this morning he got his hand cut and he got his bandage on. And I had just had my oldest daughter, and my wife was going to bring her down to show her off to all the, we was tearing out the office and holding. So Duane and I was painting at the time when my wife came, and she knocked on the door, and she had my daughter in the stroller. So Duane gets down off the ladder, and he's got a can of paint in his hand and his brush. And he comes out the door, and my boss comes out. And my boss was a type of guy that dressed right to the hilt. I mean, he had wingtip shoes and real nice clothes. So he walks out to look at my daughter, and my boss comes out, and the first thing he says to Duane is, he says, "Duane, put that can of paint down." He says, "You'll get that all over the kid." So Duane does what he tells me, put the paint down. He looks over at my daughter, and my boss comes over, and he got right up next to Duane, and he kicked that can of paint. Instead of the paint going that way, it came this way. It filled those wingtips right full of paint. He said, "Hersey, I told you to get rid of that can of paint." Duane said, "You told me to put it down." So we get back inside, we get the paint, and my boss, he's pretty ugly about this time. And he takes his sports coat off, he puts it on the back of his chair, and he gets a telephone call. And when he gets a telephone call, he'd walk all over the office talking to people. So Duane was up on the rack painting. Of course, when he painted, he went, he tried to get rid of all the paint that was in the can real quick, so he used to really. So he looks down, and that black coat's just covered with spots of paint. So he says, "Frank, what are we going to do?" And I says, "You're in trouble." So Paul comes over and he sees the coat. He said, "Hersey, downstairs." So he took him downstairs and gave him a big talking to. He says, "I don't want to hear another word I use the rest of the day." So Duane gets back up in the rack and he's sewing down cable. And Paul asked him, he said, "Where's the paperwork from the job we had just done?" Duane just ignored him. He said it about 4 times, and pretty soon Stuart said, "Hersey, I asked you where the paperwork was." He looked at me and he said, "Tell him I can't talk." Oh, I'm telling you, that was one normal day. I could tell you 10,000 more just like that. I got to tell you, when we was in Boston, working in Boston we was there for probably 6-7 months. And we used to switch off taking cars every other week. So Duane had the big Chrysler Cordova. It never ran real good, and it wouldn't, when you stopped at a stoplight, it wouldn't really start very good. So we went to start and it stalled. Of course, the people in Boston were kind of impatient. They got to blowing the horn. So Duane got the car started and he's sitting there. He said, "I'll fix this guy." Gritted his teeth. So he's sitting there and the light turned green. And he's sitting there and the light turned yellow. And he sits there and the light turned red. Pretty soon, knock on the window and look, and there's a cop there, and he says, "What's the matter?" He says, "You can't find the color you like?" So I laughed at him. Of course, when I laughed at him, that cop didn't think that was very funny. He said, "Guys, get out of here." Yeah.
Just anybody go with anything.
Come on, Andy, that run off.
Yep, come on, Ernie.
Come on.
Well, Duane and I had been fishing in the west branch of the Mattawamkeag. When we come back to the vehicle, he said, "Did you ever meet Gerald?" I said, "No." He said, "We'll stop in and see Gerald and Geraldine." I said, "Well, okay." So down the road a spell we went, pulled in. We ran out and knocked on the door. Soul Puller came to her. Duane introduced us. Instead of us going in, I figured we'd go in. Gerald, he kind of hustles us out the door. And he looking over his shoulder. "We go on up to the barn, boys." He says, "Go on up to the barn." So we're going along talking. Every so often, Gerald, he'd look over his shoulder. So we get out to the barn. Inside we went. He rushed us right back to the back door, and there's a big manure pile out there. Duane said, "What are you doing?" "Oh," he said, I got something to show you, boys." He's looking to make sure Geraldine isn't coming or anything. He grabbed the shovel, and into that manure pile he went. There was a big crock in there, and he had a brew set. And Duane said, "What in the devil's this?" And he said, just hang on, boys, just hang on." He got a piece of sheet down off of the eave he had tucked up in there, and he wiped the top of this all up around it, and then he grabbed the handle and he lifted her off the top, and he had a dipper in there. He hauled off a dipper and he said, "Here, take a haul off that." Duane said, "How much should I take?" He said, "Is this going to knock me right backward?" "Well, I'll take a good sip," he said, "and if you like her," he said, "you can come back for another one." So Duane, he takes a lick off of her and he passed her to me. I took a taste, passed her to Gerald, and he looked at her and he said, "Gee, you young fellers," he said, "didn't take much," and he tipped that up and he finished her off. And he said, "What do you think? You want another pass at that?" And Duane said, "I guess I'll I've had enough. And I said, I guess I don't need any more. So Gerald, he tucked it all back in there. Kind of looking again to make sure that Geraldine wasn't looking. And he put the top back on her and buried her back up in the middle. And that was the only time I was ever to his place, but I'll never forget that.
Now, I've met him several times, and I never got.
You never got into the wrong
You had to go to the back door. Yeah.
Yes. Had her buried in manure top.
I remember going hunting with Duane. I was always old enough, so I never had the opportunity to grow up with him. But we got together after we got older. And, he and Jerry Carey and I'd go hunt. And Duane would always preach to him. He'd watch his watch because he knew that, Mike does the same thing. I noticed his expression. Duane had to do. He just put on a facial expression when one of them things that you don't listen to me. We'd gone hunting several times. And Duane, now boys, you can't do that because he said we get caught. We get caught. He said, you know what that's going to do? He said, I'm on the board down there at the church. He said, that's not going to be good. I remember the biggest thing that I remember about Duane was Duane always had fun, and he was always first in line to have it. But he had serious times too, and his church times was I think if he could be sitting here and he had to choose between what meant the most to him would be the times he was serious. I remember when he had youth, he was a youth leader in the church, and a lot of kids coming, and Duane was trying to be a big help to all of them, and always encouraging, praying for kids. And when Duane was serious, those tears as big as the end of your finger would come dripping down his cheek, and he would talk through them, and he'd spit all over you while he was, and if he was praying for you, you got your bath for the week or two, and snot and everything, and he just didn't care. He was where he wanted to be, and he loved it. And but I remember a time, and he was always involved in kids in the church, and they would have outings and picnics, just anything to get them together. But the biggest thing that I remember, and it'll never be forgotten in our church, was the time that he grabbed a 2x4, and there's some here. I don't know, Dawn when they used, and he said, I want every teenager that wants to make a commitment to Christ, and he'd done this on his own. He said, I want you to take a spike, and there was 10 penny nails, and that 2x4 was probably that long, and it's still in the back of the church. And he said, I want you to come. And he said, I got a hammer here. And he said, if you want to make a commitment, he said, you drive that nail. Say, Jesus, I'm going to drive that, and with your help, I want to be steadfast just like that nail. And I'll tell you what, that was one of the biggest heartfelt things that was ever done. And Duane, sometime, and he's maybe driving to work or somewhere, he instrumented that thing all by himself, and we Leah and I talked about it, but that's still in the back of the church, and every once in a while I'll go back there and it'll be stuck up in the corner. Look at all the nails, but that things like that is what meant a lot to him when he was helping kids. And another time he'd gone out to Boston, I think, for school. I think they sent him to school. Probably get him out of the office. But anyway, he'd gone out. He told me later. He said, Billy, I got to tell you what happened to me out there. He said the classes used to last up until 8, 9 o'clock at night. And he had a hotel room there, and he said, kind of dark on that street, and he said, there's always people hanging out. He said he come home one night from class, and he said this hallway, and he said just a light bulb there, and he said you walked up about 15, 18 steps. And he said here was these guys in there, both sides, rough looking fellas. And he said, I just put my head down, and he said, Lord, he said, I need somebody to help me. He said, if you're ever going ahead of me, you got to go ahead of me now. And he said, them fellers, when they seen me, they just kind of almost walked away. He told me, the old tears coming right down his cheeks. He'd stop. He was never ashamed. Duane was. He said, Billy, he said, I took the walking. He said, it was just like somebody was pushing me. He said, I took the walking, and he said, the further I walked, the more they spread. And he said, it was just like there was a bee plow in front of me, and he said, that fellas just, he said, nobody said anything. He said, I couldn't. He said, that hallway, he said, was just that little small light bulb. He said, I walked through there, and he said, nobody, he said, I know it was the Lord going before me, but those things there, you know, he was, you know, Duane was grateful for those times. And I was too. You know, he and I was glad that, like I say, we never got together when we was young, but we got together and bonded well when we was older. And it was just with honey and sharing.
Seen them tears a lot.
Yeah.
And usually it was after he'd hit me in the ribs with a baseball or something like that. We'd get down to the smoking barrel. Like school. You know, they had a pair of boxing gloves down there. So me and Eric, his uncle, were going to put them on, right? So Duane was tying them for us. I wasn't paying too much attention. I was running them out. Eric got his tied on, and Duane's tying mine. Here I am jacking my jaws. So I brought him up. I was going to give old Eric a hit. Well, he hit me first. I brought him up, and they were tied together for me. It was like a pounding for a while. I took a pounding for it, and I ran. Put it in the fingers off. Oh, you thought that was great. Yeah. We was up golfing. Me and him, Ronnie Kennedy. And we come to, I think it's number 3. Little par 3, and you go down through the hole right there side the road. Well, he hit his first shot, and it went right into that bank up by the road. So we're standing there, we're all standing there, and that ball's eye level. Instead of throwing him out, he's going to hit it out, right? That house across the street. So he gets up there and he swings that golf club, just like with your baseball bat. Well, that ball came out of there and went across the road and right into that fellow's picture window. I'm standing there with my hands on my head thinking, he's going to hit that window. And it did. The window broke. And here's that fellow standing inside. And I looked around and both him and Ronnie down laying in the grass. I was the only one standing
Duane he became a pretty good golfer.
Yeah.
He had his own clubs and everything, and last time we golfed together, we was in North Conway, New Hampshire. Duane says, you always call me Bear, never call me by my first name. He said, Bear, we ought to go golfing. I said, well, let's drop the girls off to the mall. That'll give us a couple, 3 hours, and we'll go play. Duane said, well, this be a piece of cake. He said, this fairway's got no woods around it. He said, you won't be losing any balls. That was my big thing over here. I was in the woods more looking for my ball. Well, we went in and...
Say golf balls, Arnie.
Well, we went in, we bought them packets each, and there was 3 in a packet. So we went to where you shot out onto the green for the first hole. It was up about 50 or 60 feet. There's a stairway down onto the fairway. So he teed up. Like I say, he was a pretty good golfer. And he just shot that thing right out of sight. So, okay, Bear, see what you can do, he said. So I stepped up. I hit right on top of the ball, of course, and I dribbled it out and it went down in the tall grass there. So he's chuckling a little bit. There's people starting to gather behind us. So I teed up the next one and took a little more time. Same thing, right on top of it. I just out down and Duane said, I can't believe this. He said, you're going to lose all three of them balls and we haven't even got off the first green. I said, oh, don't get excited. I said, well, I'll hit this one. So I teed the next one up and I took quite a lot of time that time. A couple deep breaths and I whacked right on top of her again and she just dribbled out there. Like I say, the crowd was starting to gather behind us, and there was an old fella there. Him and Duane was having a great time. They were just laughing and chuckling, teeing something awful. So I said, well, just be a second, boys. So I run right back in through the door, bought another package of 3, and out I come, and Duane, he's right down on his hands and knees just laughing the time I got there. And I opened up the package, and I was a pretty good ball player back then, and I just hauled off and just throwed it just as far as I could, and I grabbed my club, and I said, come on! that old fella behind us, boy, when we left, he was still right down, just laughing just as hard as he could laugh. And Duane, he thought that was great. That was the last time we played golf.
Honey, I got one to go, a golf story to go along with that. You'll like this. I had never had a club in my hand before. Duane says, let's go golfing right here. I says, all right. I said, you'll have to show me what we got to do. So I rented some golf clubs and everything. He says, I'll show you how to do everything, he says. So we played the first few holes. I didn't do too bad. You know, he says, doing all right. I just had trouble putting. That was the only thing. Well, we were going along. We caught up to this foursome of women that he knew them all. Of course, he knew everybody. And he says, you got to understand, this is a newcomer over here. He says, so. They said, why don't you guys go along ahead of us? So he says, you go first, Mike. And I said, all right. So I put the ball on the tee, and I swung, and it must have went 350 yards, right straight down the fairway, just as straight as could be, and all 4 of them went, like Duane's face went white.
I got to follow this guy.
Yeah. So Duane gets up, he puts his ball up, he did just what you did. He dropped the ball and didn't go 10 feet. They all laughed at him. And then he went all red. It took him 2 more shots to catch up to my ball. So he was on the other end too.
Well, we could take the butt end of the joke just as good as...
Oh, yeah.
I was telling Moose the other night about when we were building the church there, and Duane was there, and of course Duane towered right over me. We were out there in the field standing there talking, and he was standing right beside me, and he said something to me, and I don't know what it was, but when he did, I put my foot right behind him, and I hit him right in the chest like that, and down he went, just laid him right out. Well, he got to his feet, and he was really going to give me a whooping then. When he came at me, he hit me right in the stomach, and I took him right in the bear hug like that, and he wanted to throw me right up over his head, but I laid it out flat, and he kept trying, and he just couldn't throw me up over his head. Then he got all winded, and he stood up, and he says, how could I win? He says, how could I win? He says, look at the size of me, and look at the size of you. He says, if I hit you and knock you down, they say, look at that great big guy picking on that little fella. And he says, and if I don't, they say, look at that little fella, knock that great big guy right down. So I think he always kept that in the back of his mind, because we were youth directors with Duane in the youth group there, Lee and I. we used to put skits on about every week. Well, they always chose Duane and I to act together. Well, it was a good deal because you didn't have to learn any lines because he just said whatever he wanted and I said whatever I wanted. You never knew what was going to come out. Well, we were doing a skit and I was a radio announcer and he was a boxer. His name was Boom Boom Boomerang or something like that. I was interviewing him and his final thing was supposed to be, I asked him what his success was and and he was supposed to come out and say that because he was a Christian and he put his faith in Christ and everything, that was what gave him his strength. So I asked him, I says, Boom Boom, I says, what is your secret to your success anyways? And I think at that time that he might have been thinking back to the time that I knocked him down out in the field. He says, my secret is, he says, you gotta hit him hard and hit him fast. And about that time, he clipped me right in the end of the nose. He just cartwheeled me right across the stage and ate up over the couch. Well, it all worked out pretty good, but I always accused him of, he was trying to get back at me for knocking him down. I never let him forget it, though. Gotta hit him hard and hit him fast.
And then he'd laugh.
Oh, laugh. He'd ha-ha and
That used to make me so damn mad. You're so bad in practice when you get up there, and I mean, he can throw the ball. You'd be set up on that ball, and you gee, that thing gonna break. No, whack right in the ribs. And then he would turn halfway around and go. He won't take the bat at him, Died again.
Well, Bear, he said, there's only two places I can play on the field. He said, look at my feet, he said. I can't even get over them. He said, they're so big, you're either going to put me on the mound so I can pitch, or walk me out to first base. He said, it's the only two places I can play.
When we were kids and he was staying at the house, we lived in a fairly large neighborhood, and they had like 3 different ballparks that kids could play pickup games during the summer. And so there was me and Duane and another friend. We went to one park, and it was just a pickup game. Whoever showed up, so we all got on the same team. And Duane was the first one up. First pitch, kaboom. You couldn't see that far. The ball went so far. And I was a real mediocre ball player. I got up, kaboom, just as far. And the other kid, Dick Porter, got up, and he was a good ball player. Kaboom, the ball just went. The pitcher just threw his glove up in the air, and just, end of game. And everyone walked off the field. And somehow the news got around. We went to the next ballpark. They wouldn't let us play.
He played a lot of softball with you, didn't he?
Yeah, he used to get pretty frustrated at softball. He used the same swing as he did in baseball. Those little guys would hit it twice far. He would jump and there's no need of that.
He played 2-3 years?
Yeah, he played 2 or 3 years. He played first base. Okay. Those are the only 2 places he could play.
he probably wasn't that good a pitcher in softball.
I think the only person that I ever heard Duane ever say anything about that was negative was Tyrone Emery. That used to pitch for Hodgson.
Yeah.
He hit Duane a couple times. And
Well, that should have bothered him. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, I said, you must pray for him a lot, Duane.
Him and Dave Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave was a couple of years younger.
I think Duane Duane to me was the most unique person I ever met, because you could talk to Duane about anything. You could talk religion for 2 hours with him. You could talk politics. You could talk baseball. And it's very unusual when you can find somebody. We used to talk about our families a lot. When we was working on the road, I used to try to pick up something every week to bring home to my wife, just to kind of make her feel good. She had 3 kids. It was doing all the work, so I said to Duane, I said, I said, it wouldn't be too bad if you bought Ann something. She jumped in and he says, if I bought her something, she'd think I'd done something wrong. So anyway, I talked him into it one weekend. So he took his car, so I had my car parked outside his house there. We built a new house up on top of the hill. So I can't even remember what he bought her, a sweater or something. So I started my car and went in, and he said, Duane, did you forget your gift? Oh, yes. He goes back out and he gets the gift and he gives it to him. And she looks at him and she said, what did you do wrong? I said, boy, she does know you.
Okay, what you done with it? You had a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, some of the basketball trips and stuff we'd go on.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was never a dull moment.
Somebody must have a story about the yellow banana.
They were talking about that before you both got here.
He loved that car.
I used to race him a lot. I had a Dodge Super Bee then.
Yeah,
When he had the Buick.
yeah.
We used to go out on the interstate every noontime. We went out one noontime and we just lined up to race, and the state cop pulled up behind us. So Duane just kind of moves her up a little. The state cop gets out and he says, what are you going to do, guys? Duane says, oh, we was just checking their tires. The guy says, are you the ones that's been leaving all the black marks here? Duane says, I can't lie. He said, well, don't be out here again. Duane had a good thing with state cops. I don't know if you were state cops then or not, but
Let me tell you my story, though. I'm going to focus on that chair right there so I can see myself. Back when we lived in Presque Isle, Duane used to come quite a bit, and he'd always come over to our place and eat. Finally got to the point where I almost had to get a part-time job to feed him. He'd come in there and he'd eat, what did he have, 7 hot dogs?
And hot dogs.
So one day I was patrolling South Presque Isle, and he just happened to come along heading home from work. And he met me, he was going around the back, we met at one of the bars here south of town. And we get out, we were talking, and all the time we're talking, I noticed how fidgety he was. I thought, what the heck is wrong? He's just moving around there pretty quick. This car come along, got pretty near to us, and next thing I know, I'm on the ground. Duane grabbed me and flopped me right on the ground. I said, oh, what the heck is you doing? Of course, he figured, he'd seen that car coming. He thought he wanted to be a good guy and take the trooper to the ground. I said, you better get in your car and get the heck out of here. Or they call somebody. He liked doing stuff like that.
yeah, he turned in. He could get contrary with state cops. When we was traveling from Boston, there used to be a cop set just before you got to the Kennebunk rest area. He sat there every Friday. Every Friday at 1 o'clock we'd go by. So Duane was driving, and I looked down, and he had her set right on about 79. And I said, Duane, that cop's right up here. He never even acknowledged I said anything. So I just sat there. We get there's a big dip in the road, and the cop put a blue light on to give us a break, right? Duane never let off. Went by that cop, just, I said, Duane, I said, just step on your brake light. That's all he wants you to do. Never acknowledged I said a word. Just, boom. That cop come out behind him, followed him for, probably 4 or 5 miles, gave him quite a lot of chance to give him a brake light. know, pretty soon blue light comes on. Cop walks up beside him. Duane rolls down the window. Cop says, "Couldn't take a break, could you, son?" Cost him $125. So we driving, we got going, and I says, "You call me contrary. Don't you ever call me contrary again." He just said it in his mind he wasn't going to slow down.
Just because you spoke up.
Yeah, if I hadn't said nothing, he'd have been fine.
We used to go out, just before David Ham went into the service. And we went out on the interstate that night, and there was me and Duane and David Ham, and we had a Chevelle Super Sport, small.
John Small?
John Small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were drag racing. So him and David wanted to have one last drag race. David had a GTO. And Duane says, "Hop in." And I said, "Okay." So I didn't really like to ride in the cars when they were racing like that. And they started off neck and neck the whole quarter mile. And I'm thinking to myself, I'll be glad when this quarter mile's done. We get to the end of the quarter mile, they're dead heat. Neither one of them lets off the gas. And I'm looking at the speedometer. The speedometer's bounced at the end of its travel. I don't know how fast we're going. Now, it reads 120. Who knows how fast we were going? And finally, David Hams wouldn't go any faster, and Duane went ahead of him. That was the last time I ever rode in a car with a race.
You were lucky.
Oh, yeah. That's the last time I rode. Boy, he wasn't going to give up no way.
I see a big maple tree made him give up one night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he used to like to go fast.
That must run in the family.
Huh?
I say, that must run in the family.
Oh, when you lived down there across from Cecil's, we used to, I spent more time there than I did at home. I practically lived with Apple and Lemon when they lived down that house. Duane would show up night after night. He wouldn't be there 10 minutes. He'd say, "Let's go up on the interstate. Let's go up on the interstate." Lemon had that GTO. Off we go up there, race night after night with that GTO and the yellow banana.
You got a story, yeah?
No.
Huh?
No.
Night after night, Duane would come down and visit us, all the guys.
And I shampooed Duane's hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I need my hair shampooed. So we broke the kitchen sink. I shampoo his hair for him.
Duane just come up the house, whether we was just getting down hunting or coming to church, and he wouldn't go. He'd walk right in. First thing he'd do, he'd grab her and he'd stick out that tongue out. Like an old donkey's tongue. That slurp up the side. That would slurp up the side. Yeah, it would. Juice running off and everything else. Yeah. That was a big thing with him.
His honesty used to get him in some awful messes, though. I used to tell him, I'd say, "Duane, of course, we'd talk a night in a room with us. He'd read the Bible to me, and he used to give me a lot of tips on how to live my life. I used to try to give him 2 tips to get him through his. He said to me one morning, he says, "I'm sick and tired of this place. I don't want to be here." And I said, "Well, Duane, you might feel that way, but you don't want to go telling the phone company that you don't want to be in a certain place, because they'll put you some place where you don't want to be for a long time." I said, "So just don't say anything." I said, "It'll get better." So he couldn't. Once he got something in his head like that, he just couldn't leave it alone. So before the day was out, he was up to my boss and he said, "I'm not doing much here. He said, I have no interest whatsoever in the phone company. And he says, you might just as well get rid of it. I'm just shaking my head. So that afternoon, our big boss came from Portland, and Paul Stewart, our boss in Holton, was telling him what Duane had said. So he comes and he talks to Duane, and he says, have you thought this over? Duane said, I jumped and he says, I've been thinking about this for a long time. He says, I need a guy in Massachusetts. So about 18 months later, he calls up the boss in Portland and he says, I'm feeling a lot better about myself. He says, I want to go home. Took him 18 months. He says, if I ever think of doing that again, Carnes, you wet me. Pretty honest guy.
When Nathan was born, he took me in, he showed me him in the crib there. He said, you know, Bear, he said, God is punishing me. I said, how's that? He said, I've made fun of Billy so long for having short legs. He said, look at the son he's giving me. He said, his legs aren't no longer than nothing. Did he ever tell you that?
Every time we get hunting, we get the raspberry bushes. That Duane, I mean, I wouldn't even come to his armpits. Every time we were standing together, he'd always like this, you know. And he and Jerry and I went hunting. We met somewhere in the woods. We had to come out. We come out with an old chocolate. And here they go, raspberry bushes. I mean, I come out, my face is all cut out. and he says, "That you, Nettle." I get out on the road, blood running right out of me. Oh, he said, them 4-foot raspberry bushes. and we were down Breakfast this morning, and Jerry mentioned that to me. But my face was, I was raked everywhere, and 4-foot raspberry. Man, he used to laugh about that. Yeah.
Don't worry about that. I got back at him for you.
Did you?
Yeah, because he used to stay at least 2 weeks. Him and I, we'd stay at the camp. It's our house now, but we'd stay at the camp then. And he would be down in Portland for school for a couple of weeks. And we always stay. It would be in the summertime. We'd always stay right there. We'd always go swimming, you know. And he'd get me out, so I couldn't touch bottom. And he'd thrash me. Oh God, he'd almost drown me. Well, it only took me a couple times. Admittedly, I was a little slow to realize that I'm not going out over my head with Duane, or I'm just going to be half drowned. So we went in the next night, and he says, "Come on, let's go for a swim." I says, "Okay." Well, I let him get to about his knees, and I tackled him, and he was gagging for breath by the time I got done with him. I said, "There," I said, "you ever try to drown me again, this is going to happen again." And he never did it to me again. But oh yeah, he'd take advantage of his size.
I wish Cooney was here tonight to tell some of the stories that I've heard about him and Duane, about the time that they went fishing. They were planned on being gone most of the day, so he asked Ann if she'd make him a nice lunch for him and Coon. So she had a great big cooler, and she filled that right full. Duane said he was sitting in the front of the canoe, and Cooney was in the back, and they was fishing. He said he wasn't paying no attention. He says, come dinner time, he said, "Boys, I'm hungry." He says, "Go and pass me that lunch bucket, will you?" Cooney said he opened it up, and there was one apple left. Well, Cooney, they ate everything. Bring that eye back to that. I sneaked him down. So he just all was left was one apple. But then you get back, I think it was Duane and him that were fishing up to Green Pond or Green Mountain Pond. And that's a fishing pond that's artificial lures only. Well, they get up there and they get fishing. They wasn't catching anything. Old he says, I'll catch something. So he got out his angle worm. He was fishing away. Said he was sitting in the front of the canoe, but facing back to Duane. They was coming in the shore. He paddling in there. Just about the time they got to shore, Duane looks up and he says, well, hello, Randy. Randy Probert was the game warden. Of course, they were always trying to pull jokes on each other, so the old coon said, yeah, right. Hello, Randy, how you doing? He turned around and there stood Randy. So he says, the coon, he says, what'd you catch out there anyways? Oh, we got a couple. He says, yeah, I noticed you did. He says, got them with them angleworms, didn't you? Yeah. So he's writing him out a ticket, and he says, you know it's illegal to fish angleworms here, so he's writing him out a ticket for angling. He says, you should have been here a while ago. He said, we was using live bait. Ripped right up, rolling on.
You had to tell everything.
Yeah. Should have been here a while ago. We were using live bait.
He couldn't quite get over it. I mean, you know, Penny, I'd go, we'd get ready to go hunting, and Gloria, they'd see me coming. Oh, she said, you go with him, Billy. You go with him, Jerry, and don't come back. Don't come back. She says, I think she thought maybe we wouldn't. Then we'd go get Duane, and he's a big man, but he's scared of him.
Yeah.
And we'd be gone too long, he'd promise her, if you'll let me go with him first, I'll be back. And my goodness, he'd say, come on in with me, but whatever you do, don't lie. Don't lie. Tell her just exactly where we was and she'll believe you. And I'll go in and I'll say, you know, Ann, he didn't want to come home. Billy, I told you not to tell her that.
He took me hunting one time. It was right around Thanksgiving, a few days before Thanksgiving. And he said, we'll hunt up along the west branch till we hit the town line. And he said, deer traveling right there. We'll sit for a while, and if we don't see anything, we'll come across to the camp, have dinner. I said, dinner? Oh yeah, big Thanksgiving dinner. He said, it's tradition. I said, really? And he said, yeah. So I said, we don't need to bring anything to eat. No. He said, they'll have all the trimmings. Tradition, he said. Okay. So I'm no hunter. Only had a hunting license 3 or 4 times in my whole life. I just went along for the traditional dinner, really. So we hunted up along the river. We got started early enough so we had to wait for some light, to start. And walk up along there, and follow the river. We got up there where the line was, he said. This line right here, Fair, he said, goes right directly to the camp. We'll sit here, he said. We can see deer traveling here. Then come dinner time, we'll head right to the camp. So we sat, we talked, and we sat, and we talked. And I said, boys, I'm getting a little empty. I'd just head right for the camp. Well, he said, let's hang in there just a little bit longer. He said, look, dinner ain't quite ready yet. So, pretty quick we packed up. We headed for the camp. We got there, and we got where we could see the camp. I said, gee, no smoke coming out of the chimney. He kind of looked. We got up there, wasn't a soul there. Just him and I standing out there in the middle of woods by that camp, and I let a roar out. Tradition? I said, we ain't got a thing to eat. We are not empty. I'm right on empty. Well, don't get excited, he said, and he's fumbling around up the eave and gets the key, and we open her up, and we go in, there's a half a loaf of bread on the table and a jar of peanut butter. This is going to be gonna work out good, Farron. He said, you get the fire going, we'll toast that bread, and we'll have some peanut butter. About every other bite I took, tradition. Who had the trimmings? Oh yeah, it was the trimmings. Oh, I can hear him laughing right now. That was the biggest thing, boy.
He did the same thing to me one time, the exact same thing. Except we didn't have any bread, all we had was the peanut butter when we got there. But they were supposed to come in that day, but it turned out real rainy and wet, so they didn't think we'd go in. So we got in there, and there was absolutely nothing. There was a can of bacon grease and a half a jar of peanut butter, and that was it. And we were soaked to the bone. So we ate spoonfuls of peanut butter and got dried out and left. He wasn't even mad at Ian. I wasn't going in there on a day like today.
After Thanksgiving, that following Saturday, the last day of hunting, he got at me again Friday. He said, we better go the last day. I said, okay, where are we going? Right the same place, he said. I said, yeah, okay. So that morning I jumped up. I boiled 6 eggs. I had a couple candy bars, and I packed them on the inside of my coat. We took off. Duane says, after we went a ways, Duane said, you know, it's kind of odd. You never even mentioned anything about eating. No, I'm through with your tradition. We went a ways further, and I'm following along behind, and I had my eggs in a Ziploc bag, a baggie, so I reached in and pulled one out. I ate it, and looking around. You eating something? I said, no. He said, I could have swore you was eating something. I said, no. So we went a ways further. I got another one out, and I took another one on that, and he come right back. You're holding out on me, he said. You got something to eat. I said, well, I did pack a little something. I said, after that deal you pulled on me a few days ago. What do you got? So I pulled up an egg. I give it to him. Well, he said, that was pretty good. You wouldn't happen to have another one, would you? I said, yeah. So I give him another one. Big grin on his face. Boys, he said, that's pretty neat. He said, that's pretty good. So I reached in and how many of them have you got? He said. I said, I'm getting to the bottom, so they even have one more. And
We used to have quite a competition. I lived in Hodgson, and he lived in Oakfield. And I guess there used to be quite a rivalry between the baseball and basketball teams. So he had an awful time when he first started hunting, getting deer. And when he couldn't get a deer, he'd shoot and he'd shoot and he'd shoot. So he'd come in every day and he'd tell me about the deer that he'd missed. And I said, well, over there on that wall, I said, mark where you think the back of the deer is. And it was up about this high. I said, geez, those deer over in Oakfield, they're a lot bigger than they are over here. He said, why is that? And I said, well, the deer is only about that tall. I'm like, you're crazy. So we got to looking around. We got some pictures and brought them in and put them on the wall so he'd know what they were. And after that, after he learned, he got pretty good.
yeah. That first deer he ever shot, Brenda and I was at his place when he come rolling in with it. Honest to God, I'll never forget it. I was looking out the window when he drove in to see if he had a deer on the back. Well, he jumped out, of course, and he had that big grin on his face, and he just turned around, reached in over on the back and grabbed her and come what? There was one down there. Honest to God, that deer was all shot to pieces. 3 legs were shot off. I said, well, he had her all shot up, and I said, jeepers, Duane. I said, That one wasn't gonna get away. He shot every leg right up from under it. And he said, yeah, I know it. He said, I really done a number on it. He said, they got to shoot and they couldn't stop. So he goes up and he throws right over the clothesline. Up over the end of the clothesline. He comes in and got his hands under there, washing her all up. He's telling me about it. And he looked and he said, the dog, neighbor's dog's got me. That door, he went that dog and going right down across the I said, oh, you might as well let him have it. You're not going to get more than 8 or 10 hamburgers
Duane always told the story about going hunting with his grandfather. He said he was down in the woods, and he said it was the deer were herding up or something. He said they were just going right behind him. He said just one right behind another. And he said every time they come down, they'd go to jump over that tree, he'd fire, boom. He said that deer'd go out of sight, and he just knew that deer was laying right on the other side of that tree. He said another one come, go home. He said he emptied his whole rifle right there. His grandfather come, I think he called him Dewey. He said, Dewey, what are you doing? He said, just shooting deer, Derby. He said, he knew he was going to go over there and they were just going to be piled up like cordwood. He said he went over and there wasn't a deer there. Nothing. He thought he had 6 of them piled up.
Him and I was going to go hunting ducks one time. And he said, quite a trip shooting them on the fly fair. He said, we better take a couple weeks and shoot some skeet. I said, whatever you think. So we went and got a box of skeet, and we had the thrower there. You'd throw it out. He was pretty decent, you know. Every once in a while I'd hit one, but wasn't nothing special. I think we're ready, he said. I said, oh, okay. So next Saturday morning we loaded the canoe and down into the river we went. Right there on the river road in the East Branch. Just barely get started down through there, and ducks everywhere, you know. I said, you're out front, Duane, you do the shoot. Well, he said, I'll shoot some, then you can shoot some. I said, well, you're out front, you go ahead and do some shooting anyway. So some ducks come flying up. He took the shooting, and a couple went down. Well, we better go down and round them up, he said. So we started paddling down. Gee, before we got down there was a group of 3 or 4 come flying right up the river, right at us. Duane said, boys, he said, your gun, he says, full. He said, you take them. He said, they're going to fly right over the top, but you can't miss them. He had a big red cowboy hat type thing on, you know, it was a big red hat. And, geez, I let them come, they was right up here, and I, boom, 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 Duane had the hell. Something fair. He said, what's the matter with you? He said, you can't get a better shot than that. And I said, yeah, I know it. So he never said no more. He picks up his paddle, and we started paddling down the river, and he turned back around at me, and he said, John Bear, what's the matter with you? He said, you'll never get a better shot than that. And I said, just get that paddle, and we'll go down and get that 2 knocked down. I said, Lord knows where them are now. I said, it's been 15 minutes since you knocked them down. I know right where they are, he said. I see them hit the water. So we paddled down. There was one there laying in the brush, and we picked him up. And I said, where's the other one? Right there, he said. So we paddled over that, and Duane just about got his hands on it, took off. He up with that paddle, and he let a smack or 2 out of him. He was hitting just about 6 inches behind that duck every time. Well, I said, looks like you're going to have to reload and go at him again. No, sir, by the jumping, he said. I'm not going to mutilate that duck, he said. I'm going to get him with this paddle. Well, we paddled up a little closer. He'd give a couple more whacks at him, and gee, he's coming up about a foot short every time. Duane looked back at me. Boy, so boys, I hate to, he said, and he pulled that old shotgun out and he let him have her, and that just disintegrated her. There, I knew that was going to happen, he said. He put the paddle in the water and we just paddled right back away from there. That was the only duck we got that day.
Well, I got a duck story that'll exonerate you. Honey. One night after work, me and Smokey and Duane, I think it's Mud Lake, is it in behind?
Out in the country there,
Yeah,
down over the hill.
yeah. He says he bought himself a brand new shotgun. He was just as proud of that shotgun, and it held a 5-shot magazine. You were only supposed to have 3 in there. He says, I'm going to put all 5 shots in. And he says, come on, Smokey, let's go. And Smokey had that old single shot, it had a barrel about 14 feet long on it. And he says, okay. And he took his dog Jake with him. We all went down in there. We were just getting ducks. And you could hear the duck coming up. Quack, 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 quack. And they're all flying. Duane looked and he goes, boom, 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 boom. Quack, 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 quack. He never hit the duck. And Smokey goes, boom, and down comes the duck. Duane, I wonder what's wrong with this gun. So we had 5 more shots in, and the ducks are still coming. Boom, 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 boom. Quack, 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 quack. And they were still flying down there, and they go smoking. Kaboom! Down comes the duck. So the big duck laying in the water. Of course, Jake would go in after him. It was so cold. He'd go up to his knees and just shiver. The way he had to undress and swim out. I don't think he ever used that gun to go duck hunting again. He couldn't hit a thing with it. Had a short little barrel on it. Those ducks were safe that day, honey.
That would have been a good car to been in when Smokey got lost out on Mount Desert Island. That's what been rocket and buried, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. Going out to Barnland and play ball. Smokey was driving. Duane and Smokey. They never showed up. We're rocket waiting for them. They never showed up. Never showed up. His Barry's leaving. We played ball Friday night, so we take off. Well, yeah. Just when the game starts, here comes the mailboat. What do you think the mailboat's got? It's got half the Oakfield basketball. Smokey's gone. Mount Desert Island, for God's sake, got lost. About 4 hours getting down there. I'd been a good car to have been in.
Duane tells about the time the high school team went on the baseball trip down along the coast there somewhere, and they got separated. And Roddy Kennedy, Chico, we all called Raz. I don't know if you know him or not. He and Duane happened to be in the same car, so Duane was telling the story about them getting lost anyway, and he said didn't have a clue where to head to. He said there was this old fella stepping out on a porch there, and Duane said we pulled up there, a bunch of us young fellas, and he said no. Raz rolled the window down and said, "Hey, old timer," he says, "where's this road go?" The old fella looked, "Well, don't go anywhere," he said. "It's been here all my life." Raz rolled the window back up, he said, "I guess we better try somewhere else." Oh, we tell that and laugh.
We really had some good time on the trips.
That time we was headed into hunting camp in the old Jeep, Mike. We had a great big bag of candy that we bought when we started that had a penny candy.
Yeah, we was. It was
And
a huge bag.
of course, Mike and Duane and I, we all wanted the squirrel zippers, we called them. I don't know what but it was a caramel type thing. Well, Duane's driving the old Jeep. Mike and I's in the back. Of course, Brenda was there, and Nan. Oh, the Jeep was always down.
You couldn't, if it ever tipped over.
So anyway, we give that bag of candy an awful going over. Duane, of course, he was driving. He had the bag up front there, and he jiggled her around. He couldn't find any more of them squirrel zippers. The rest of that stuff junk, he said. So he threw the bag into Mike. Mike, he paused through her. Boy, said I, he said, I guess they're all gone. He said, I can't see none in there. So he passed me the bag, and I took the bag, and I started jiggling her and shaking her around. And lo and behold, up out of the bottom, one come rolling up. So I said, boys, this is great, you know. I grabbed that between my thumb and finger, and there, Hersey, look at that. I got the last one right there. And old Mike, he was over here giving me a cussing too, and I turned my head to give him a sass, and Duane hit the brakes, and of course they drove my arm right in there in front where he was, and he snatched that thing away from me and put her paper and all right in his mouth, and he took it to him. There, Harry, he said, this time you won't be stabbed with Frank, and he said, you put it in your mouth. Oh, he snatched that away from me so fast.
I forgot about that. We thought we were so smug, you had all the squirrels on it. Yeah, you got the last laugh.
You can take the paper off of there. He squished it right in there. You ever bowl with Duane? Go bowling?
Yeah.
Which used to be quite competitive at bowling.
Yeah. He wasn't bad for left-handed.
Oh, that'll be easy. I'm left-handed myself. He used to throw his leg way out behind him when he'd throw. And,
Show us, Artie.
he'd come down. He'd kick his leg way out like that. Well, one night he threw the ball wicked hard. One night he come down, he gave her the big throw and kicked his leg out and hit the reset button when he did. He's standing there looking, boy, just before that ball got to them pins, that gate come down, that hit that and just splintered that right in half. Oh my! This one's gonna cost me.
Is that at Bird Point?
No, it was out to Holton.
Was it?
Yeah, out
Albert tells the time. Duane was sassy, and I don't know just exactly what happened to start it, but where it all ended was he punched him, flattened him, and he got up and he says, Dad, what'd you do that for? Well, he says, you're bigger than I am. And he says, you can probably hit harder than I can. So he said, I have to be fast and I have to be quick. I said, it hurt Duane? He said, I guess it hurt. He said, he hit me right in the mouth. Yeah, both of them told me that. Yeah.
That's where he got fast and quick from now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I can remember Albert telling me that story, and he says, I knew I had to do something. If Duane got one punch in there, he says, I've been all over with him. So I figured I would give him everything right at the beginning.
Seen his mother having just about begging one day. He was up there in the kitchen. He was giving her some wet. She had a wet washcloth in her hand. She went to snapping at him. Boy, he could not get away. She had him in the corner, and didn't she get him going over there?
He was taking I don't know if they was taking the canoe trip. I don't know Arnie if he was there or not. They was taking the canoe. I don't know if they was fishing. I think they were fishing. But they was just down below the firehouse. And the canoe upset in the water, I don't know. And maybe it was in the early spring, I don't know. But he got down there and he got caught.
Yeah, that was in the spring when the ice just went out. Yeah, he almost drowned.
He got caught there, and boy, he told me, he says, I don't know if Dennis
Burke.
Dennis Burke.
Him and Dennis Burke, yeah. Mike, and I didn't know if he was there or not, but I never liked being around the water that well anyway, and if I was like Mike, I want to make sure that I was holding to my knees. But he told me that, I think it's good.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He told me, he said, boy, he said she was moving, he said, so much current there, he said, I couldn't get away, and I was caught. And he said the canoe went down and everything that was in it. Yeah. He'd been in some tight situations.
The time he upset Buster's snow sled out on Small, Dennis was with him. Dennis said, boys, he said, I see that sled there going end over end. And he said, and every time that Duane would hit out in front of that and start to roll, he said that sled would just bang right in right where he just left. And he said, and he'd done that about 6 times. He said, when she all got done rolling, he said, Duane's laying right on his back, right on the... Then I said, gee, I run the snow sled up to him, jumped off. I said, Duane, geez, you okay, Duane? Duane said, what are you doing laying down there? Then I said, what are you talking about? He said, you're laying down on the snow, he said. No, he said, you're the one that's laying down on the snow. Well, I did disoriented him so bad he thought he was standing and Dennis was laying on the ground. Of course, that was a close.
Of course, he was just as wild on the snow sled as he was.
Oh, terrible. Yeah, terrible. Yeah.
We both had 650 snow jets at the same time. We worked up in Alaska, and Mo Netto invited us over for supper one night. He says, bring your sleds up, he said, and we'll go sledding. So Mo Netto, he was probably 8-10 years older than we were. So we unload the sleds and just let them idle beside the truck, and Mo's getting his stuff on. I see Duane edging over and he's going to jump me. So we both run, we jump on them sleds and we go up over this hill, and it's a great big steep hill. We went up over that and there was nothing but dust, and we kept on going. Mo Netto was standing in the yard and he reached over and he shut his key off and he said, ain't going anywhere. But you couldn't sled with him because he would never let you get ahead of him. Yeah.
Who was the other, there was another gentleman that worked in the phone company with him that would come in and went fishing with Duane one time.
Steve McCoy.
Yeah. We went fishing down the East Branch, and he said, Duane and I had fished a lot together by then. Well, he said, Steve wants to be able to go fishing with us, so we'll take him down the West Branch. I said, down the West Branch, you sure that's a good idea? I said, slippery as that is, you know, down at least a half a dozen times a day. Oh, he'll have a great time. He's a fly fisherman, he said. He loves to fly fish. So we was having a bad day. Oh, the fish wasn't doing anything, you know. I'd fallen down at least 10 times, and I was soaking wet by the time we got down. Steve latched into this real good trout. Best one we'd had all day. Steve, boys, the minute he got a hold of his, boy, she said, you're going to have to come net this one. He said, this is a good one. He said, you're going to have to net him. So Duane said, well, you're closer than I am. Go ahead and net him. So I went down there side of Steve. I waited. He's not doing nothing to try to bring him in. I kind of looked at him. I said, well, you're going to bring him up here? He's in the current. He said, I can't get him up out of there. He said, he's in the current. So I walked out 3 or 4 paces out in front of him, reached up, grabbed the whole of his end of his pole, and I took the line, and I gathered her right up, and I picked her up and shoved the net under. And he said, oh my God, he said, I've never seen anybody net a fish like that. And I said, well, we got him, didn't we? Duane was on shore just about splitting the guy. Steve never let me get near the net again all day long.
That must have been the second time Steve went, because
Yeah.
Steve and I and Duane went.
Yeah, I went with them. Yeah,
When we went to Jeep and
I,
to start,
no, I went with Steve and
Was
Duane and I one time. And I was in the river like Ani. I was in the river more than I was out of it. And I had a reel full of fish. I was one under my limit. And I fell in. And the creel come open and fish were just... And I'm like a big bear trying to run down the river. Duane goes, use your net, use your net, use your net. You know, and I'm going, I can't even reach the fish. The current is so fast, you know. I couldn't catch out. So I just took my net out and I threw it like that. And I said, there. I used my net. You just
salt
ate
pork,
it,
we're gonna have a trout for dinner.
Oh,
With lunch, and we get in there, sitting on the bank, Duane, he got behind me, and he said, look, 6 feet of water off that bank, that spring hole. Of course, he give me the shoulder, you know, and I go. And then he, give me over. Now, he thought that was great. I said, get any matches? And how the hell are you gonna eat dinner? Well, you get all the fixing. Yeah, I do. How much is your fire going? I got paper matches. I said, I haven't anymore. They're all wet. I don't suppose you do. You don't smoke, do you? Glory, I never thought of that. We were hungry before we get out. Yeah. Okay.
This has been fun. Aren't you? This is for you.
Okay. Caitlin, don't video nothing, honey. Caitlin? Yes, she is. She's got that. Caitlin, are you thinking on that?